Hello, and welcome to our live stream. Sorry we're a little bit late tonight getting going. We got a little bit of a late start ourselves, and that's okay. Hopefully, as it stands, we have no technical issues. We made sure and gave all the requisite gremlins their offerings today in hopes that they stop fucking with our audio.
You sounded okay so far.
That's I'm hoping. Sometimes you get some gremlins in there and they really can just wreak havoc. So we're gonna hope those
Seems to be weird spikes once in a while. Yeah,
fuck. I don't know. Just the internet, I guess. I don't know. But
indeed.
needless to say, welcome back to another one of our Call of Cthulhu. Sorry, not Call of Cthulhu. Cthulhu Confidential. We'll strike that. Actually, we won't. Don't worry. Our Cthulhu Confidential actual plays, where we're playing through one of the introductory investigations from the book, The Fathomless Sleep. We hope you've been enjoying this so far, but of course, this is the fourth episode of this particular actual play. If you want to catch the first one's actually linked in the show notes, so feel free. We've been having a blast with this so far, and it's been a really fun investigation to run. It's definitely more story time than mechanics heavy, so there's not like really diving into a lot of different systems and mechanics and all that kind of stuff. It's just enjoying a good investigation story. So,
Or a bad investigation story if it's me.
well, I mean, a bad investigator, not a bad investigator.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Well, you can
Sorry,
beat yourself up.
I didn't mean to blame the tools there.
You blame the user, not the tools. No, just kidding. No, I mean it's like, but it is like any investigation game. There are going to be people that are obviously like much better at them, and then there's going to be us. So,
He means
not to
me
throw
as the person
shade
playing.
on us.
He means me more specifically as the person playing. But yeah.
That is not true.
Also, don't forget to like, subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff. It looks like we're about 9 people away from our goal of 500 for the year of 2024. So if whatever you can do to help us do that would be much appreciated.
Yeah.
And join us on our little journey in storytelling.
Yeah, I think it's been a lot of fun getting here. So we appreciate it. If you guys like what you're seeing with this actual play, don't forget to throw some comments in there. Let us know what you liked. Let us know what you didn't like. And of course, as always, if you have experience running the game and what was your experience running it? How did the game go for you? Because obviously, if you're playing in this game, this will contain spoilers, so you've been warned. And trigger warnings. I mean, it is 1930s detective noir, so there's obviously some sensibilities about the 30s that are a little bit different than today.
And it's a Cthulhu game, so there may be body horror.
Yeah, existential.
There was already a car exploding, if that triggers anybody. So
Yep, and we're basically starting like right there. So
and Bing Crosby, if anybody's triggered by Bing Crosby.
I mean, of the things, I mean that could be it too.
Never know.
You never know. You do never know. So I think with that, I think that's all we need to get started, right? I mean,
Yeah, go ahead and do your recap.
Okay, so this is heavily stylized, and I wish I had kind of like mood lighting to get this back into the night, like turn the screen black and white, add a rainy effect in the background, put on a fedora.
We're hoping to add production value someday, everyone.
Yeah, just not today. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if this helps our investigator remember where we were last week. So your visit to the Order of Argent Light was a journey into the esoteric and the occult. Within the walls of Clara Neville's hermetic spiritualist chapel, you uncovered more about Helen Deacon's troubled past. Clara revealed that Helen's spiritual disorientation was rooted in the tragic death of her mother and the neglect of her gambling-addicted father, and it had led her to seek solace within the Order. It was here that Helen tried to find a place for herself, but her journey was marred with darkness. Clara last saw Helen a week before her disappearance, sensing a dark cloud hanging over her. She spoke of detecting the spoor of an ancient gnawing evil in Helen's aura, something she had walked over, unaware. Clara's vision of a great lever once alive but now stilled hinted at a deep, malevolent force at play. Though she offered to conduct a protective rite for Helen, the ritual never took place because of money.
Right. Their sister cut her off.
Yep. Your exploration of the Allegria, the swanky yet dangerous casino, revealed more about the people that you're dealing with. Whitey Alexander, the mobster with a dubious reputation, is facing what seems to be some pressure from a rival gang, specifically an individual named Bud Barron, an East Coast thug that is rumored to work for Bugsy Siegel. And of course, Siegel seems to be putting pressure on Whitey as part of a larger turf war that threatens the city's balance of power. And of course, there happened to be an exploding car. Um, in your discussions at the Allegria, it became clear that Helen Deacon, perhaps seeking strength and stability to compensate for her father's weakness, or maybe because she sought people like her father, was drawn to older men with resolve, the most notorious being Whitey Alexander himself. Whitey,
Who was startlingly unconcerned about her disappearance.
well, he I don't know if I'd put it unconcerned. I don't know. It's hard to say. While revealing the deep affection for Helen, suggesting he didn't want her to get wrapped up in his current troubles. Um, and you're not sure, but seeing the nervous pinstripe shrimp carrying a folder bulging with adding machine tape suggested he knew something he shouldn't. Wondering if he has anything to do with Phil Block, the accountant Franz Spielman's mentioned was mixed up with Helen. So when last we left, you were in kind of the parking area, and there was the
I got a
fireball.
taxi home.
Oh yeah, that's right. You got a taxi home. Well,
Hmm.
I
Or
was getting to that part. You
uh,
had
I
basically
got a
seen a car.
taxi partware home.
Yeah, but you basically you watched a car blow up. You saw
Okay.
the parking lot filled with people silencing the casino as people kind of saw this most overt threat towards Whitey and his business yet. Obviously, Bing Crosby had been helped by Burl. You'd kind of overheard that Whitey was suggesting that Bing wasn't the target, obviously, that it was Whitey himself. And you took the meager amount of money you had left and took a cab back to your apartment office or
As close as I could get.
office mint, something like that. I don't know. Yep, or at
My
least as close
office
as you
that I
could
am
get.
living.
Yep. And so I believe that was where you were going to end your night. Did you do anything between night and morning, or are you just kind of like going to the next day, the third day?
Going to the next day because almost being blown up was pretty good end to the day for me.
Okay. Yeah. And so, obviously there's a little bit of soot and smoke that is kind of stained. Did you have a white shirt on when you were doing your investigation, or do you have like a
Sure.
yeah, it was a little dark in the collars and everything like that. So you'd have to change your shirt out for the next day and get the other one cleaned.
Yep.
So yeah, so tell me, where do you begin? What is your Seamus intuition telling you is your next step?
Well, I guess I'm gonna go. I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can find some information on Phil Block. Do I remember where he was? Like, I know that the guy said he followed him. Do I remember where he followed him to, or where he might be?
He when you had cornered Franz Spielman's in the alleyway, he had just mentioned basically who Phil Block was, and that he had found him through Helen, because obviously Spielman's was trailing each of the people that were all connected to that most terrible and devilish communist Marshall Daly.
Right.
But he didn't mention where he had seen Franz Block, but he did, of course, suggest to you and indicated that he worked at the Allegria Casino.
Right, and I didn't check him out while I was there. I'm not going to check him out at the casino.
Okay.
Um, I think I am going to. Can I use my streetwise to see if I can find out where he is?
Sure. Let's take a look here. 1 second. I'm just looking at my
Um,
notes.
oops.
Ooh, sorry. I thought
Yeah,
I
fine.
had this.
I'll pull
The
up my
hell?
character sheet. There it is. Dexter Raymond.
Here it is. Okay. So basically, so you're going to, you have Phil Block's name. You can actually, using your research investigation, you'll be able to find the address of his apartment in Echo Park.
That is what I shall use.
Okay. So using your research, you find which you would probably consider a drab apartment. It's not exactly a luxurious place by any means, but it is passable. Um, nothing you would have to necessarily worry about going there, of course, other than it's just Echo Park is pretty boring, I guess. and
Is there
and maybe
any? Is there anybody outside? Does he have any? Okay.
no, he doesn't have any like muscle or watching or people
He's not
watching him.
important. Gotcha.
He's important, but not in the way that you'd expect.
He's
Like,
important, but not that important. Gotcha.
sure.
So yeah, I'll go. Is it apartment building
Mhm.
or house?
It's an apartment building.
Okay.
And basically what you do is literally his just has, the names of the people in the different apartments on the door. And you can basically find his apartment pretty easily
Yep.
from there.
Yeah, I'll go up to Phil Block's apartment and knock on the door.
Okay. So knocking on the door, it's a fairly solid door, but you hear kind of, the somebody walking up to the door, kind of being quiet, but obviously in how the apartment creaks and stuff like that. It's like you can feel somebody going behind the door, and you can kind of see the flash of the peephole as somebody obviously is looking out to see who's there, and you hear kind of a muffled, who is it?
My name is Dexter Raymond. I need to ask you some questions.
It's like, I'm not interested in buying anything.
I'm not a salesman. This is about Helen Deacon.
Okay, so and then he kind of responds by saying like, he kind of goes quiet. He's like, I don't want any trouble.
Open the door and you won't have any trouble.
Okay, now, so how do you say that? Open the door and you won't have any trouble. Like, can you give me is it more of a threat, or is it more of a, what do you think?
Let's see. What do I have for skills?
You have a few.
I would either be reassuring or intimidating. Which one do you do you think? Probably more. I probably started reassuring, but the more resistance he offers, the more intimidating it's
Okay.
going to be. So this will be reassurance, and if he refuses here,
Yeah.
then we'll probably move towards intimidating.
Sure. So basically, you do find that it doesn't seem as though the honey gets the door open, but as you kind of harshen your tone and suggest to him that you're going to make his day a lot more difficult if he doesn't give you the answers that you need, the intimidation does get him to open the door, and kind of sheepishly lets you in. Obviously, this guy is
Well, yeah, I mean, if at first, like I said, if being reassuring doesn't get him to open the door, I don't
mhm.
know. I'll just start making silly threats about, I was talking with Whitey yesterday, and I know he's having problems, and he might hear from somebody that you're one of the problems, and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, unless he talks
Oh,
to me.
no, like he as soon as you start going that route, you hear the bolt of the door open, and he opens up his door. So he kind of invites you in, but he doesn't really, like, he kind of takes you to the kitchen. It's kind of it's a drab apartment. So you kind of imagine those 1930s, like, kind of, it's like cheap, but
I tell
sufficient.
him it's a nice apartment because I don't have one right now. It looks
Fair
pretty
enough.
good to me.
So no place like home, I guess. No place like home. So he takes you in. He kind of like,
Is it the same guy that I saw at the?
Mhm.
Is it the same guy? It's the same accountant guy.
Yeah, he just not wearing a pinstripe suit, more in kind of your day casual wear.
Homeware.
Yeah, basically.
So we sit at. I assume we sit at his kitchen table then.
Mhm. And he weekly offers coffee, suggesting, like, some measure of hospitality, but not anything super crazy.
Right. Well, I say thank you, and I kind of apologize that I had to go that route, but it's kind of important that I talk to him.
Okay.
Um, I tell him I know you work at the Allegria. As a matter of fact, I think I saw you there last night. Is that correct? That was you walking down the hallway.
He doesn't remember you. His mind, he says he was preoccupied, but yeah, he was at the Allegria last
Yeah,
night.
yeah. It looked like you were pretty nervous about something. But that isn't really regarding last night. This is more regarding, like I said, Helen Deacon. And I know you made her acquaintance on and off.
And he says, "Yeah, I mean, uh, I mean, I know a lot about Whitey and what he's going on behind the scenes, but even though it was the boss's twist, I would say there was something. One of those nights, I she came on to me, and he's like, look at me, look at the kind of guy I am. Um, this that dame is so far out of my league, she might as well be on the moon. But all I can say is that I know it's the boss's gal, and I should have kept her at arm's length. But man, it was just
So
something about her.
so I take some notes because that was more of that was kind of a surprise. I wasn't really expecting that. So when was the last time you saw Helen before her disappearance?
Um, let's see. Ooh, I thought I had this down.
It's another time question.
I know, time question. Oh, I thought I had this one. Fuck me. Sorry, I do have a time for you, so I
Well, it's
apologize.
not that big of a deal. I mean, we can keep talking about him until you find it.
Yeah, I thought I had it in my notes, but apparently my notes are organized by
Okay,
a
so he
squirrel.
saw her at some point in the past.
Mhm.
Um, well, what can you tell me? The last time you saw Helen, what can you tell me about the last time you saw Helen?
Well, and he kind of like looks a little bit sheepish here. Um, let's see. Oh, I'm getting the timeline. I hate you. I have to get this time for you.
Now is not the time for him to be sheepish. She just told me he was sleeping with Whitey's girlfriend. Now is
Yeah.
not now I have real blackmail stuff.
Okay. So he had actually seen her about, oh wow, about 3 weeks. That would have been a lot. I mean, he thinks that the last time he saw her was 3 weeks before she disappeared. Um, but that's all I had to say. Now I'm going to go back to the part that's important.
Okay.
Okay,
No,
fucking notes.
timelines are important in an investigation.
I know, that's why I thought I had put that down, but apparently I had not put it down.
But
So,
anyways, so what can you tell me about Helen the last time you saw her?
um, so the last time that and he's like, well, I mean, you probably don't want to know the last time I saw her, because honestly, the last time I saw her, was just passing at the casino. For as much as she was making eyes at me, she was still keeping up appearances with Whitey. But he, she made a request, and this is where I thought it was. I thought, I don't know, I don't even know why I did it, but she asked me to meet him in a hotel room. Meet her in a hotel room, but
I was like, Helen's a man.
no.
Dun, dun,
And he
dun.
and he's like, I, I don't know what made me do it, but when I met her there, I found out that there were some strings attached, and as she kept on making requests, I should have said no, but she was like a drug. And I did probably something I shouldn't have done. Um,
Well, I
he
mean, it
I
sounds like a
gave
whole
I
list
gave
of
her
things
these
you should have
books,
done.
and I gave her these books that probably are some pretty damning information on Whitey, and I don't know. I think she just wants to get out from Whitey. Really, I think that's what it is, and maybe that's my job here. Is I'm just trying to help her get away from him, but she got the evidence after I saw her that day. I saw her at the casino, and then after that, I never saw her after that. So,
Like accounting books, like what books exactly? Like accounting books, like information
hmm
about Whitey.
yeah, books. I mean, he she wanted a copy of Whitey's books, and those are powerful things in this world.
That's pretty amazing that you did that.
Well, I thought
Um,
I thought I thought for a second there I had a chance with her, and I mean, you've seen this girl, if you're working on that right now, you got to know.
do you think this is related to her disappearance? Do you know anything about her disappearance?
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about her disappearance, but what I can say is that Whitey treated Helen well, but let's just say that um, I saw bruises on her a couple of occasions at least. Um, and obviously when I had asked her, if like the reason she needed the books is because Whitey was smacking her around, she said no, but I mean, it didn't seem believable, and I don't know. I didn't want to press the issue. I was already pushing my luck, being so close to an angel. So I don't know.
All right. That's good information. Anything else? Do you know anybody? Do you know anybody that she may have been interested in taking the books to? Did she say anything about like that? Were they for her? Were they for somebody else?
Well, I mean, if I had to be truthful, I mean, I thought that even though I mean, I kind of wasn't really worried about that at the time, and when he says that, you kind of get the impression that he means that um, you, you kind of get the impression that like maybe he was thinking about the attractiveness side of things as opposed to what she was ultimately trying to do.
Right. He was
Um,
thinking about her, not about being
but
murdered
yeah, but like
by mobsters.
but he kind of goes over and he kind of suggests that he's like, I really don't, like I said, I think she wanted to get the books so that she could get out of get one over on Whitey by proving to Guy that Whitey's doing a little bit of skimming from the top, let's just say.
Oh, so you think she went directly to Guy with the books, not somebody else?
He doesn't say that's what he thinks, but he thinks that could have been an easy thing for her to do. I mean, Whitey is definitely been lining his pockets a little bit here and there, and since it's been when it's feast for the casino, it's harder to notice that kind of stuff. um
Are you the only accountant that would know this?
yes.
All right.
Yeah, but he's like, I don't know if Whitey did that or if she was just trying to keep it for herself in order to keep herself safe. But once I heard that she had disappeared, um, and she was found in the state she was in, I mean, I feared the worst.
We have a question in chat if you'd like to let them know what's going on right now.
Oh,
Another recap, a little recap.
sure. Well, welcome. We appreciate you stopping by. We're actually just playing games. So first and foremost, we're playing some RPGs. Tonight we actually are playing Cthulhu Confidential, a two-person role-playing game by the same using the Gumshoe system. We're playing the Fathomless Sleep. I'm playing the role of the game master, and Brent is playing the role of the hard-boiled detective, Dex. He's currently trying to unravel the mystery a little bit of you know, the poor missing lamb that has been found, Helen Deacon. She's been put in a pretty bad state, let's say.
She was kidnapped. She disappeared for 2 weeks. She turned up fairly beaten up. And Dex, my character, was asked to investigate her disappearance and
Mhm.
try and find out who did it.
Yep.
And at this point, I should just go to the sister and say, "Yeah, it sounds like Whitey did it," and then collect my money. Easiest case ever.
You could.
Okay, so he gives me the information she has. She has the books. So the timeline, his was 3 weeks ago. So he saw him after what's that guy's name? Marshall Daly.
Mhm.
Right? Okay. So Marshall Daly wouldn't necessarily know where she put the books.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay, so I drink my coffee and I sit in his apartment for a slightly awkward amount of time, sipping my coffee, thinking.
Okay, that's fine. You can sit for as awkwardly as long as you need, really.
um, and then I ask him if he has any other information that he think is valuable to the investigation of who may have caused Helen's disappearance and trouble.
Well, he doesn't. I mean, the only person that let's see. Well, the only other person that seems to have been that he kind of suggests was involved was a guy named Spielman's. And unfortunately, he suggests that is
Have I heard the name Spielman before?
yeah, Franz Spielman's
Right.
the commie hunter.
Oh, why does he think he's involved?
Well, because based on the photos that because Spielman's found him, um, and then basically for some reason uh, Spielman's approached him thinking he was some mixed up with some communist cell or something like that.
Are you a communist?
No. And then he kind of goes to it. He's like, I mean, a communist would say no, but I'm not a communist.
I
Look who I work for.
That's exactly what a communist would say. I chuckle.
But but basically, he thinks that maybe Spielman's had something to do with it because I mean, Spielman's was throwing all kinds of photos and accusations at his at him and everything like that. But honestly, like he feels that Spielman's was some sort of pervert or something like that, because he seemed to have a lot of photos of Helena. And so he thinks that she was probably attacked by him, and kind of shattered her beautiful, confused, fragile mind. But
So he had more pictures of her than just of like following you and her.
yeah, I mean, he had pictures of me, he had pictures of Helen, he had pictures with some other young boyfriend type. I mean, it seemed like he was trying to get pictures of Helen with men, so I don't know.
Okay. Maybe I'll have to talk to Mr. Spielman again.
Well, if you are looking to him, there is I did follow him. I mean, I'm not really the brave type, but I followed him and I found out he's living in maybe in a guest house or in the building of an up and coming actress, Greta Odemar. Greta Odemar. Sorry, probably butchered that. Another German.
Greta with 2 teeth.
1 T.
Greta with 3 teeth.
That's TGRT. No.
GRETT.
No, GRETA.
Yeah, I got it.
T.
I take notes, and then I thank him for his time. Let him know I may be back if I have more questions.
Mm-hmm.
and then head out.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So he obviously, I mean, he knows that he's given you a lot of information, but he's also like, you can tell he's just a weak man. You're not sure why Whitey would employ somebody like that.
No, I know
Well,
exactly why Whitey would employ somebody like that.
fair enough.
I mean, he's easy to intimidate and frankly kind of dumb for the amount of stuff that he told me. Just being like, yeah, I was dating the boss's wife or girlfriend. That's just blurting that out is probably kind of a mistake.
The one thing about this game is that since you don't like have to roll like intimidation rolls or anything like that, you don't have to like just kind of
Yeah, you
be
just get the information. Yeah, that's
yeah.
fine. It's just funny. So I think
It is kind of funny.
I think my next thing is I'm gonna go check in with Virginia and see if she's has any information about the lab coat or if
Okay.
she's gotten it yet.
Sure. So so basically you just had a really simple ask of Virginia. So Dr. Virginia Ashbury, just to recap, it sounds like we've got some people here, maybe hadn't been here before, is what's called a source in Gumshoe. A source is somebody who kind of helps from a mechanical standpoint, kind of helps fill in the attribute blanks of your
Since there's
player.
only one investigator.
Yeah, since there's only really one investigator, your sources kind of help fill in those areas so you can kind of use investigation abilities outside of your normal realm, but also somebody you have that can help deepen the story, kind of relieve some tension because there is, depending on how you play the game, can be a lot of intensity with a one-on-one game like this, especially depending on the subject matter involved. But Virginia Asbury, she's a scientist that Dex knows, and so you go there.
I do go there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't bring her chocolate this time because I'm broke.
she
Unfortunately.
she obviously notices the lack of gift coming.
Well, I tell her I owe her double next time. That's what I tell her.
She does offer. She does accept offers and juicy gossip as well. If you're willing to leave one of your token morsels of information that you've been finding, because she knows you've been hunting something.
I tell her about the writer at the movie studio who might be a communist.
Ooh, so it is true. They're all communists at the movie studios.
I didn't say all of them, but this one seems like he might be, at least according to some reporter that was following them.
Well, she, being a scientist herself, she suggests that you can't take just one person's word on it. She'd need to see more information, but that is juicy. Okay. So for you, what she does is that as you'd basically given her a bloody camisole and you'd given her a basic ask of like, is it human blood? Is it all that kind of stuff? You find that the camisole itself, the blood itself, or the mark, the stains on it were blood. So what she could tell you is that it's what's strange is it's I mean, it's all just one person's blood, but without a match
Yeah.
she can't really tell
Yep.
you whose blood it is or anything like that. There isn't anything else that really, I mean, there were so many other particulates and everything like that it's really hard to get, using 1930 science,
Right.
strong, any strong information from it.
Could they even
Because I mean,
Could they even blood type in the 1930s?
that's a good question. Can they blood type 1930s? I mean, the book seems to suggest that they can.
Blood typing began in 1901.
Then hell yeah.
So, what blood type is it?
A blood type doesn't say.
Okay, I get. Basically, I can ask her sister what her blood type is and make sure it's her blood type.
It's human looking blood.
It's human hemoglobin.
I don't know how you'd be able to determine that, especially she's forensic. Obviously, she just used the enhance button on the microscope.
Proteins and things.
Yeah. Now, obviously, if she had something to match it to, she could be much more thorough in her report out to you, but she doesn't. So
I just wanted to make sure there was one person's blood, and I can assume it's her blood. I'm assuming she didn't roll in somebody else's blood.
Okay.
And if I know the blood type, I can verify that by
Yeah,
just asking the sisters. So
sure.
that's fine, but no other chemicals or anything. Nothing that seems like no ether or anything that seems like she was sedated and then he got on her dress or anything like that.
She wasn't able to find. She wasn't able to find anything like that. But then again, like I said, the dress being is the fact that she was found downtown after wandering about for a bit. There were a lot of things that made like getting 100% sampling was impossible.
It
So
was a long shot, but I thank her for her helping me. So
okay. Yeah, she's like, sorry, I couldn't give you more information, but if you do want me to match it against a type of blood or someone specific, let me know.
yeah, if I find out more, I'll let you know. Watch out for those communists as
Just
they leave.
like, just like, man, I have to go to more movies. So okay. There you go. What's next?
The funniest thing is that probably wasn't like jokes you would make in jest at this time period.
No,
Um,
well, I think that the Red Scare really peaked in like the late 40s, early 50s. So, I mean, here it was still, darn communist, but it wasn't like McCarthyism, I don't think.
I don't know when the like people were getting blackballed in Hollywood for the rumors that they were communists.
Yeah. I mean, like that, like I said, it was mid 50s according to the internet. But of course it was 1940s on is when it was started to be that.
Makes sense. So anyways, okay, so let's see, what now?
Mhm.
All right, I guess I'll do a little bit more research. I'll use that research skill some more and do some more research on Spielman and see if I can find out where exactly he is and any information about him personally. Like, is he just a crackpot? Does he actually write articles?
Does he actually write anything?
Yeah.
Um,
Is
let's
he saving it
see.
all up for his book that he's never going to publish?
It's hard to say, but let's see. Um, let's see. So, what you are able to confirm is that the information that Phil Block gave you does seem to be correct. Is that he actually does currently reside with a kind of a second string starlet, Greta Odmar. And so are able to confirm where he lives and everything like that. As for the works that you tend to look for, like try to find articles or anything like that, um, you actually don't find anything that is really like you actually don't find any articles that he's written or anything like that. Um, but like so I mean you obviously don't know, maybe he writes for a publication that you wouldn't know of, because obviously you're not having the internet or anything like modern search engines. It makes it harder to find a journalist if they're writing for smaller publications and stuff like that. But you can't find anything, and it doesn't seem as though he's written for any major newspaper articles based on what your research is showing you.
Cool. So yeah, next on my list after doing a couple hours of research on Spielman, and I
Mhm.
guess at the library, just like looking through some stuff to try and figure out what might be happening. You love libraries.
I do love
Uh
libraries.
and then yeah, so do that, and then yeah, I guess I'll head out to Greta Odmar's place.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. So
The
first
day
thing is
the
that you
days the days when you could just walk up to people's houses and knock on the door and not get shot at or something.
the 1930s. That's fine. Um, so
People won't immediately call the cops.
it basically, so you're just gonna go to Greta's house and basically knock on the front door, or
Yeah.
cool. All right.
I mean, that's a big part of this game, right? Is go there and talk to people.
It
Isn't
is
that
a big
isn't
part.
isn't, isn't that one of the
You gotta
tenets of
do
the
it.
game?
Yep. So sure. So if you want to, basically head to Greta's house, you can definitely do that. Do you like do anything before going to the house, or just kind of like knocking on the door?
No, I just go up and knock on the door. I check the place out, make sure she doesn't have armed guards or something that are going to take me down as soon as I knock on the door.
No.
I mean, when you say things like that, rabid dogs that come streaming out into the yard.
Well, it's one of those things. I just don't want to make any assumptions as to how you're approaching the house or
Oh,
anything
you
like
should
that.
make assumptions because you know that I'm not planning on breaking in.
Well,
Um,
so you're going through the kitchen window, finding, um,
that's later tonight.
maybe. So basically, going through and knocking at the front door, it is actually Greta that is the one who answers, and kind of not knowing who you are, she looks a little bit, kind of slightly annoyed, but also kind of curious as to why you just have knocked on her door. Other than obviously she's kind of a fringe starlet that hopefully one day will make it in this world.
I asked for her
Yes.
autograph. No.
Oh,
I
you know me, darling. Sure.
uh, no. Did she say something when I knock on the door, or because basically I'll do the I'm an acquaintance of what's Spiel's name, first name, Philip,
Front.
Franz, Franz Spielman, and I need to talk to him if he's available, or
um
if you know where I can find him.
and so she actually kind of like, as soon as you say you're a friend of
I said
Spielman.
acquaintance. I didn't say friend.
Oh, I thought you said friend. My
Nope,
apologies.
acquaintance. Mhm.
Um, she still kind of backs up a little bit from you, and she's like, friends is not in right now.
Do you know where I could find him?
No, but I can take a message for him if you'd like.
No. Um, we spoke a few days ago. And I have some more questions regarding the case I'm working on, the disappearance of a young girl, and I just need to ask him some more questions about it.
Is he involved?
That's what I'm trying to kind of determine.
Well, how close of an acquaintance are you of friends then?
The type that meet in a dark alleyway one night.
Hmm. Not a very good friend, I'd say, or not a very deep acquaintance, maybe.
It was a brief connection. Let me just say he gave me some information, and now I need to know if he's involved further. From what he told me.
Hmm. So you're saying that even though you're acquainted with Mr. Spielmans, you have no love for Mr. Spielmans.
I know who he is. That's correct.
Well, she warns you. She says, Spielmans keeps some nasty friends back in Germany. Um, and
Is Spielman a communist?
in 1930s Germany, I mean, I guess you'll have to take a couple stabs at that yourself. Um, she suggests that he keeps some nasty friends back in Germany, but even though he kind of claims to be a reporter, he just goes out at all hours and everything like that. The one thing she would mention to you is that she wouldn't. You better be careful with him. He does carry a knife, and I don't think he's afraid to use it. He's quite the dangerous man. But if you're no friends of Spielman's, I am also not a friend of his. So if you
I heard he was staying here.
well, that parasite stays here for other reasons. Um,
What other reasons?
so so she looks at you, and she's not exactly um she's not exactly forthcoming with all the information, but she goes,
Well,
and she's
what I tell her is, if Spielman's dangerous, then he might be involved more in this case than than I originally thought. Because I got some information from him that he was following this girl who disappeared, and he gave me some names, but this names seem to point back to him.
Mhm.
Um, and so I need to assess his actual involvement in the case, especially since he gave me a line about some research that he's doing, but I didn't find it. Yeah, I didn't find any articles or anything that he's written. So Some of his information seems to be not as trustworthy as I may have thought at first.
Hmm. That's understandable. I mean, he does seem like the slimy types. Um, well, how about this? I mean, he's not currently um he's not currently in the house right now, but if you wanted to say look in the guest house, I wouldn't tell anybody that you were there if you were careful.
Oh, well, that would be great for my investigation. I would go give it a look around.
And so as she's like taking you basically to the back, and she looks at you, and kind of, you're not tell if she's joking or not. She's like, well, however, if you're a very thorough individual, we could probably come to a mutually beneficial arrangement if you wanted to help move Spielman's out of my house.
She's not directly asking me to shoot him. Um, well, depending on the information, I mean, depending if he's involved or not, he might be moved out of your house quicker than you think.
Well, if you're interested, I might have a proposal for you, so you let me know. So, so she takes you to the kind of the guest house, and it's pretty much just one living area with a small separate washroom. It features a pull down bed, a desk with chairs, a love seat, standalone wardrobe. So, um, let's see, what do you find here? So the cool part about this is that you can do evidence collection.
I was going to say that's what I'm doing. Evidence collection.
And for people that haven't played the game before, there's literally an investigation skill called evidence collection, and you just go. And obviously, depending on the type of player you are, you can describe how you want to collect evidence to whatever degree you want to. I think for a first-time person, even just saying like I'm going to use my evidence collection skill to go, look at locations that I would feel would be, um, probably best for information. That's good because not everyone knows like the ins and
Right.
outs of forensic
I mean,
evidence
I would,
collection.
yeah, I mean, I would look through like his desk. I would look
Mhm,
through any of the pictures that he has stored or anything that I think may have pictures in it. Any film that he has, like
mhm.
the, you know, sort of thing. See if there's anything in there. Just generally look around for any information relating to Helen Deacon.
Okay, so the first thing that you can find that's of it's of at least intermediate value,
Does he
is
have
you
a wait? Does he have like the board with the strings and stuff?
like
Like
a commie board,
red strings for communists,
green strings for
like
capitalists.
yeah.
No, he doesn't have anything like that.
Oh, I'm
Um,
disappointed.
well,
Dex is disappointed too.
I bet. What you can do though is you can actually find that in the fire, like when you go into the fireplace, kind of poking at it with a poker, you find that there is a you can see burned photographs in the fireplace.
Mhm.
It does look as though they're a little bit like you can't see or find anything that you'd be able to use at this juncture with them, but you can, but looking around, you also don't see that there are no other photos or negatives or anything like
Oh,
that
no
you could use.
negatives. That's what I was going to look at. If I couldn't find the
Mhm.
pictures, I would look for negatives.
Yeah. Um, let's see. As you let's see.
And why would he burn these photos?
That's a good question. Um, Poking around in the house, you also, as basically looking at the fireplace, you do see that there is a chunk of loose mortar between some of the fireplace bricks, and kind of taking out the piece of mortar and everything like that. You do find a key to what appears to be a safe deposit box. Um, Based on what you've experienced before and everything like that, the logo on the key and the numbering and everything like that seems like it should match a key that would be used at Security First National Bank, um, in the City Spring district.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Mhm.
Yep. And neatly replace the mortar. So it'll take him a while to figure it out. And then I'll pocket it. Anything else in the apartment?
The only other thing that you notice that you could like as you're
Does he have a stabbing dummy where he's practicing his stabbing?
what? Oh, that's funny. No. Um,
What I first thought of when she said he has a knife is there's a Futurama character, the criminal character, who goes, "I'm gonna
mhm.
practice my stabbing." So that's what I.
No, he doesn't have a stabbing dummy. But you do see that there's a locked desk drawer. Um, and that's about the only place that you weren't able to look for.
I have locksmith. Can I open the door?
You can. um, what you find inside after a little bit so basically it takes a little bit of jimmying and stuff like that, but opening the lock, you find a set of letters, postmarked, Berlin, and it looks like it's probably in some sort of code. Um,
Code or just German? I mean, I don't speak German, so.
no, it it's code, and, you do have a little bit of knowledge of, cryptography, and so, I mean, you can see that there is a series to these,
Okay.
letters and everything like that. You can see that the letters seem to be written in, German, though. So, I mean, it's not the code it could be
It's
an
in
additional
German
code.
and in a code.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Is there anything else in there? Just these letters that are probably not. I don't think are involved currently.
Let's see. Um No, nothing else that you see in the room. So basically, just the photos in the fireplace, the key in the fireplace mortar, and of course the letters coded and in German that
Okay.
you were able to pull out of the desk.
So yeah, I will lock the desk back up, and make a mental note in case I think Germany is the cause of Helen's disappearance.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll lock everything up and try and make everything look like as much as like no one was there as I can. And I'll go back to Greta and I'll ask Greta if she knows anything or has ever heard him Spielman talk about ever mention the name Helen Deacon before I leave.
Mm-mm. She doesn't recall him mentioning that. But then again, I mean, I mean, he keeps pretty private, but he also seems like the type of to to creep to be chasing after a woman. She says.
I find it strange. I still find it strange. I do mention I feel it like I feel it's kind of strange she lets him stay in her guest house if she has
Well,
this much resentment.
well, she goes, if I didn't have a choice, I would choose otherwise. And but it's not really a story I want to share with a person like yourself.
Okay. Well, if you have any problems, just let me know and I'll see if I can help.
Okay. Um
Not taking up her offer to snuff Francis Spielman yet.
okay, that's fine. Okay, so you have the letters.
I didn't take the letters.
Oh, you don't take the letter.
No.
You just left them in there.
Yeah, because I don't think. I mean, unless you're telling me I should take the letters because they're involved. I'm going to assume they're
No.
not involved in the
I
Helen
just
case.
that's why I just wanted to ask just to make
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't take their letters. I did take the key.
Okay.
Because I'm hoping there's some negatives or something in the safety
Okay.
deposit box that might be some evidence.
Okay.
And then what bank was it?
It was the Security First National Bank.
Okay. All right. What else do I have to do this afternoon? And I do tell her, Greta, before I leave, I do tell her that have him contact me because I do have some more questions for him.
Okay. So she takes your card and suggests that she'll pass it along as soon as she sees him again.
And he can come to my office when he figures out his key's missing. I'm sure that'll be entertaining. Um, So yeah. So yeah, I will. What else do I have to do? Sprint photos, Spielman, Greta Odman, Bud Baron.
The note taking view is really what it is.
What?
It's the note taking, going through the notes and checking off your own notes and everything.
Yeah. I think that's what he is going to do. He's going to go back to his office for now and do some thinking and look at his notes for now, because I can't think anywhere else to go right off the top of my head until I talk to Francis. Well, I could go to the bank. How likely is it that I can just use this key on a safety deposit box without being the guy? Without being a guy. So yeah, let me go. I'm gonna go down to the bank.
Well, and surprisingly, back in the 1930s, having the key is like at least 9/10 of ownership of a safety
Wait,
deposit
yeah,
box.
because that's pretty much what I do. I guess that's what I try. Is I walk in and I say, "Hey, I need to open my safety deposit box," and I show them the key and see if that gets me in.
Yep, they don't even ask for ID or anything. They just
Cool. I love
they,
the 1930s.
oh, well, of course, come this way, sir. We see you have one of our keys. Let's get you opened up.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of get there a little bit, and it doesn't take you very long to go back into the room and kind of have a little bit of privacy with with the safety deposit box. Getting it out, pretty much. Are you just going to take it out, open it, do all that stuff, or
Yeah, take it out and then evidence collect.
okay? So you can find like what basically when you open up the box, you find that it is pretty much explicit photographic negatives of what looked to be Greta and another girl back in what you think is probably some part of Germany, maybe even Berlin. But you also see similarly voyeuristic images of Helen and Marshall Daly. Um, and then, of course, you do see images of Helen leaving the hotel with with Phil Block as well, but no voyeuristic images in the same way that he has for the other two. You also see that it contains some blackmail photos of sorts. That's what you assume these are. Some other people. Um, you don't know if they're communists, just your standard liberals. Hard to say. Um, they just look like people you haven't really seen before or anything like that, but you suspect are part of the type of blackmail that Franz Spielman seems to be into.
I take all of them in
Okay.
this case. I do take all of those negatives. Because it sounds like France is in some shady shit. So yeah, I take, and I'll help Greta out. I'll get her the negatives, and she can probably get rid of Spielman. So yeah, I take all that stuff.
All right. So you just clean out the safety deposit box and put it back?
Yep.
Okay. It makes a much lighter sound when it goes sliding back into the wall. And of course, as you lock it away with the key, there you go.
Yep. Now I'll go back to my office.
Okay.
And I will go through all the pictures and put them in their own little folders and make organize everything, like Greta's pictures, Helen's pictures, stuff like that. Question mark pictures, people I don't know.
Just putting up racy pictures in your office.
Not they're in a minute. They're in an envelope, and I'm putting them in my filing cabinet.
Ah.
So inevitably, when Francis figures out I've done this and breaks into my office, and I shoot him 3 or 4 times, yeah,
It's fine. Never bring a knife to a
knife to a
gunfight.
gunfight. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah. So yeah, I will go back to my office with the plan. So eventually, what I am mostly going through the Helen pictures. I don't really care about the smutty ones so much.
Mhm.
Trying to see if there's any. He said you said there's pictures of her with Phil Block. I'm
Mhm.
trying to look at, like, did he follow her after he met with her the last time? Is there any indication on where she may have went with the files, that sort of thing?
It doesn't seem so. And you can tell based on the photos and everything like that this, if Phil had any impression that this was romantic or sexual in any way, the photos paint a very different story of a cold transactional look to Helen when she's with Phil by comparison to when she's with Marshall Daly. Obviously, two different situations, but you can tell that even the less racy photos that she's with Marshall, she's very much an affectionate individual, and so when she's with Phil, it's like a very cold, almost distant look. He obviously told himself something and got the he made a different impression in his mind as to the reality of it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Hot girl talks to you, you lose all sense of reality.
All
Just
sense of reality, sense of everything.
yeah.
What hotel did they go to? What hotel was it?
You can't make out the hotel in there. It looks like it's probably one of the fancier hotels downtown.
Okay.
Not anything too fancy though, but like it's a little bit nicer of a place.
Hotel unimportant. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let's see. I guess I'm kind of waiting to see if I can hear from Spielman to
Okay.
talk to him some more.
Did you want to look at anything related to the stuff that was happening between Whitey and the other people? Because you had basically recognized those two drivers.
AM Hilliard's, go down to AM Hilliard's and see if I can see the drivers.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to.
I want to go down there in the late evening because I don't want to be dark when I get shot by mobsters. I'd rather people be able to see it happening.
You could probably get there around 5 or 6 dinner time.
Yeah, I'll go down there and just look around and see what shady stuff is going on down there. Because that's like docks. Is that what they said? Or AM Hilliard's is what?
There's a warehouse.
Is a warehouse. That's what it was. Was a warehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check out the warehouse.
Okay.
The idea being to just scout out the warehouse for now.
Okay. So yeah, so getting down to AM Hilliers, you basically the area because you've at least been in the neighborhood more than once. And the building itself is a pretty large rectangular structure. It's made of weathered brick, has tall, narrow windows that allow in a pretty good amount of light. It has, a flat roof and a slight overhang, it kind of protects against the elements. And of course, as you look at the walls, it seems as though it kind of tells a history of the type of advertisement, company logos, and everything like that that had come before AM Hilliers. There is one main entrance, which is kind of a heavy double door, and it's got kind of reinforced iron bands along the door itself. But also you see that there's kind of a smaller door. It looks like the main door is maybe where they, take magazines out and all those kind of things. But then there is a smaller.
Yeah, it's like a warehouse door and then a small person door.
Yeah, a small door that is basically for employees only. Above the main doors, you do see that a kind of a rusted sign says AM Hilliers in large block letters. The business, it basically, you do see that there is a sign as you're kind of staking out the place that says that it's a wholesale business closed to the public, all that kind of stuff. But you do see that its hours of operations, I believe, are 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. Ooh, magazine business is popping.
Yeah, so I'll the goal now is just to stake out the place and just kind of see who goes in and out, see if I recognize anybody, that sort of thing. So I'll just hang out for a while and just kind of like literally stake the place out without talking to anybody right now.
Sure. So just a moment here. Let's see if there's anything I can tell you. Okay. So what you can probably see is that, you do see just what looks to be your standard warehouse workers, like, kind of loading up a truck, not really loading anything up too serious this late in the evening or anything like that. But you can
Here, pause for a second. I just noticed something.
Yeah, so basically, as you stake out the place and everything like that, it does seem as though you do have you do see eventually the two people that you had seen kind of fleeing the scene at the Allegria kind of come in towards a little bit more towards the evening. They kind of park to the side and they walk into the employee's entrance.
Okay, so they definitely work here. Um, Same. I mean, do I see the car that they were driving? Is it the same car?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay. Well, at least I confirmed that they work here. I'm gonna hang out for a little while longer and just see who else goes in and out of the building. If there's anybody else I recognize.
Not that you recognize, obviously, as it gets close. How long are you going to be there? Because
Till
closer
close.
to so close. As you
Like I'm literally staking out the building to see what like in and out looks like. Like, is there anything suspicious that happens? You
Mhm.
know, cop shit.
Yeah. So as it starts to get closer to the end of the day, eventually those two guys go out with another person. From this distance, it's kind of hard. They kind of have their collar up and they have a hat on, but they kind of escort that person to their car and they put him in a backseat and they kind of chaperone him away. But otherwise, you see what look to be like warehouse workers and everything like that. And of course, at around 10 o'clock, I would say
Well,
almost right on time, that place seems to close down.
okay. Well, if I see them leave, I'll see if I
Mhm.
can get a taxi and follow them for a little while.
Okay. All right. So getting a taxi, you try to kind of chase him down and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I tell the taxi, follow that car, try and be subtle. I just need to know where they're going.
Okay. Did we solve the fact that you don't have any money?
I don't have any money at all.
Oh, okay. Well, you do have the problem broke is the only reason I'm asking.
Right. Well, if I don't have any money, like that limits all of my travel that I've been doing. Um,
Trolleys, basically.
right. So if I can't do that, I will just come back later. I'll
Okay.
have to get more money from what's her name, the other
Show,
deacon.
you show up at the Deacons, be like, I've used up all my money for expenses.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna call her and tell her it's an expensive case.
Okay.
Taxi cabs and following people and
Fair enough. You're
such.
gonna call her at 10 o'clock at night or wait for the next.
No, I'll wait until the next day. So I'll hang out. So if I can't follow them, I'll basically hang. I'll uh case the place. It's not casing if you're doing not going to break in. But anyways,
Stake it
I'll
out. So you're
stake
still
it.
at the.
Yeah, I'll stake out the place until 10. When they close, I'll kind of watch the dock workers leave. I'll
Mhm.
wait a little while after just to see if anything like after hours happens. Like, do other people go in? Like 30 minutes or so, and then once after 30 minutes, I will walk back. Take the trolley and head back home to the office and collate my notes again.
Okay, sure. What you find is that other than um, if you're it, if you're not going inside the building, of course, the only thing that you really see is that there is an elderly night watchman, um,
Yeah.
kind of like comically old. Not like a young spry individual by any means. Kind of sits by the door, but then and takes a break, but still patrols the perimeter of the warehouse and everything like that. Uses a really big flashlight to see what's going on.
Okay.
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 Okay, so making it back to your place, you collate your notes.
I do. I
Collate.
ponder. I ponder all those people in my blackmail because I'm broke.
Well, you got a couple people, I guess. Um, all right. So now, what's next for you? After you get a good night's rest, where does your shameless heart take you?
I'm kind of waiting to see if I hear from Spielman at all. Um, at this point, um, I don't want to go back to the warehouse yet. Um, I am. So while I'm waiting for Spielman, I will call and leave a message with the other deacon. What's her name?
Margaret?
Margaret Deacon. And let her know that I do need another deposit for expenses. As I'm taking a lot of cabs around and stuff like that. Um, I just leave her a message because I assume she's not there.
Okay.
But I tell the butler or whoever takes the message that I need to speak to her about expenses. The case has been involved a little bit more travel than was anticipated,
Yeah.
and a little bit of greasing of palms. So there's been some more expenses.
You get pretty much like the most standoffish, like, I'll pass the message on kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
It's either that or just tell her that, like I said, sounds like Whitey did it. Give me money. And then blackmail people. But yeah, so that's kind of what I do. I wait and see if I get a call back from her for a little bit. I don't know after that. Because I'm kind of waiting, and I'm hoping to have some money tonight so I can maybe go bribe the security guard to let me in.
Okay.
That's kind of my plan.
And were you just gonna hold on to the?
Yeah, for now.
Greta?
As that's leverage against Spielman.
Okay.
A little while, and then once there's no communication, I will get another trolley, and I will actually take the blackmail negatives back over to Greta so she can give them back to her.
So yeah,
because she went out into his guest room.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so basically you don't get a call or anything like that from friends or anything like Greta's, though. You do find her there in the morning. She's surprised to see you back so quickly. But she asked you if everything's okay.
I asked her if France has been around yet, or if he's still out.
She hasn't said anything. He's probably.
I asked her if you can let me in for a minute. I have something that might be of interest to her.
She gives you a little bit of a curious look, and she takes the bait. She lets you in.
Okay, and I shoot her. No,
fair enough. She deserved it.
No, so she lets me in, and I say, I don't know if you're interested in taking these or you want to destroy them, but I did find these in a safety deposit box, and I think they probably belong to you more than they belong to us.
She looks at them, and kind of like that, that moment where, somebody is just weight has been lifted off of her shoulders. Obviously, this is the kind of material that somebody like Spielman would not hesitate to leverage against a person like has given her back some freedom. So she kind of tells you, she's like, you don't know how much this means to me. But what she also tells you is that it means enough to take.
Why does it take
she's willing to pay you for services rendered.
Oh, okay, cool.
She's willing to counteract your broke card, so now you're just normal card.
Oh, sweet. So I'm not entirely broke.
So imagine you have at least a reason.
I do
secretary again.
I do let her know that I still need to talk to Spielman before she 86s him. She still needs to send him my way.
Okay.
Because I talked to him because I need to know if he knows what happened to Helen. He had similar pictures of Helen. So I need to know if he knows anything about what happened to her.
She at least kind of jokes at the idea of just 86.
From my office, I guess. If you kick him out, send him to my office. He's gonna want to come to my office anyways because he's gonna know I'm the one that
Fair
took the
enough.
picture,
Fair enough.
most likely.
Okay. So yeah, so she says that she's kept your information and she'll obviously give it to him. You know, I'm not exactly sure when she would see him again, but
now that that's done and I have money, if I go pay off my debt at the casino, is that gonna make me broke again?
I will say no, because I believe I said your outstanding debt at the casino was $50. Girls did let you leave with a couple dollars so that you could pay for a taxi. Here, what is
Inflation.
dollars in 1937 worth today? What do you think it is?
I don't know. I can't even imagine.
It's only $1,000, but $1,000.
$1,000 to us is a lot. To me, it's a lot.
Not a terribly high amount, but you know, I mean, people did just walk around.
Exactly.
With
I remember seeing.
Or I don't walk around.
Exactly, and I
maybe
yeah,
somebody
I remember
else
seeing
does,
paychecks of dads. It was like single digit, like not single digit, like hourly single digit. Like that would be a travesty nowadays.
Yeah.
$5.20 an hour or whatever minimum wage back in the
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds ridiculous now, and it was less than that like before. So yeah, that's so they're not open now, so I can't go pay them now, right?
No, they were more of a supper time and later kind of club.
And I suppose I can't like just mail them a check.
You could send it to Burles, I guess, and hope that he
gambling debt.
applies it to the principal.
Gambling debt.
That's how they get their money. They just get random envelopes with like one sloppy stamp in the center of the envelope, 2 illegal gambling pen on the front. Post office.
2 Whitey, care of
Burles.
Burl.
What was that? What is that? That they for you put the memo line for gambling mistakes.
Yes, for illicit gambling debt.
That's funny. Sure. So yeah. So now you do. I mean, you do have enough money that you could pay that off without dipping into the expenses needed by Margaret. But without.
Well, what I'll probably do is I'll tell Margaret that she doesn't have to give me expenses because something else came up. But I will probably give her the pictures of. I'll be like, you probably want to get rid of these.
She, and based on your streetwise, that she would probably want to have them just so they're not back in circulation with somebody else.
Right. So I will definitely probably give her those if she comes by my office. And the goal is to get as much of this out of my office as possible before, like I said, before Franz like kicks in the door and tries to stab me and take them back, because I assume that's what's going to happen, because he does have my card with my and I do live here. So
he does live there. So I guess what is the higher priority is at this point, since speaking with Greta, she did basically give you money.
Right. Well, I'm going to go back to my office, see if I hear anything. The priority is go back to my office, see if I hear anything from Miss Deacon. Margaret Deacon. So I'll wait a little while for that. Because everything that I need to do now is in the afternoon. I'm going to go back out to the casino, pay off my debt there, and then later after 10, I'll probably see if I can go bribe the security guard to let me in and have a look around.
Okay, sure. So basically, yeah, you don't hear from Franz yet. You're not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing at this point. But needless to say, going back and kind of hitting the first part, do you hear from Margaret? She says that she's, she's pretty busy and she can't make her way out to you today. She obviously runs a fairly large firm, and and her father's weight. Obviously.
So did she call me? Does she call me? Do we talk? Do we actually talk?
Well, since you're at your office for a good little chunk of time, she's able to catch you and kind of like relay that message
I
to you.
do ask her if she's
Mhm.
heard of Spielman. She's never heard that name before.
Mm-mm. She has
Okay.
not
Well,
heard.
I tell her he has some items that you probably want. So the sooner that she can get here, it's probably the better.
Well, I mean, she is like, well, could you just drop it by if it's so important? I'd rather have it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I can draw. I can take it. Where do you want me to bring it?
Just to the manor.
Okay. Yeah, I'll come. I'll come by.
Okay.
That's the first time she told me to come to her house. So yes.
Um. Okay. So
So
that's
that's what I do next. Is I pack up these pictures of Helen and I go out to Deacon Manor.
okay. So getting to the so at this point, Deacon Manor Casino, um, and then the warehouse.
Warehouse, yeah.
Okay. So heading to the Deacon Manor. Let's see. The Deacon family manor is a fairly grand neoclassical mansion. It is, you know, it was basically built with a fortune, as one could guess. It has a fairly symmetrical facade, has imposing columns, a stately portico, like all the works that you can imagine for people that have, like when people have a lot of money and they spend it on their house. This is what it looks like. Lush green lawns, meticulously arranged flower beds, classical statues, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that
Um,
bullshit.
yeah, all the stuff that rich people spend on their houses. Getting to the door, you're pretty much let in, um, by a fairly stern looking butler. He introduces himself as Wheatcroft and kind of gives you like a stiff formality that, as someone that basically looks at you from like a class perspective. Like you're not the type of person that shouldn't be here, so don't overstay your welcome, is what he says in his non-verbal introduction to you. But obviously, he's used to keeping the riffraff out, so I thought
I tell Wheat I won't be here for very long.
his eye twitches at being called something other than his name. When you add Croft to a name, it's
Oh, Wheatcroft is not his. Wheatcroft isn't his. Wheatcroft is his last name.
mhm.
Okay, I
Yeah,
thought his name was
his name isn't
Wheatcroft.
like Wheat Croft. This
That's
isn't
what I
like
thought it was.
this is a game of Clue. Like, oh,
Oh well,
Professor Mustard did it with
I'm
Wheat Croft.
I'm still calling him Wheat. Because I know it irritates him. Yeah. So I tell him I'm here to see Margaret.
Okay. Well, he suggests that you wait in the foyer, and of course it doesn't take very long. But Margaret pretty much comes down from the second floor, kind of down a grand staircase to see you, and she's like, "Oh, well, thank you for coming so quickly. I can't imagine what you would have that would be so urgent, but I mean, if it's something related to Helen, I would."
Well, I tell her. I ask her, is this enough privacy for you? Or is there somewhere more private that we could speak? I don't know. I mean, Wheatcroft seems like a very loyal guy, but this might not be
Um,
something you want everybody to hear.
Sure. She dismisses Wheatcroft and he goes, he just kind of vanishes into the landscape, as all good butlers do. And she and of course still standing in the foyer, but she takes
Okay.
you over to kind of like a sitting room
Okay.
instead.
Well, I tell her that I recently had an encounter with he says he's a journalist named Spielman who was following Helen around. Um, some. I don't
Mhm.
know if he's more involved in the case than just following around, but I do have some pictures that he potentially could have been using to blackmail Helen.
Blackmail.
And I wanted to make sure to turn him over to you. A, I don't want if he breaks into my office, I don't want to have him. And B,
Mhm.
I think it's best you happen to get rid of him.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I pushed the envelope of like negatives and stuff over to her. There's some pretty not flattering things in some of those pictures. So, you know, just remember that before you take a look.
Okay. And so she's and so she kind of like takes the envelope, and she's kind of um how do I say it? She kind of like looks at the envelope. I mean, do you suggest that she doesn't open it right now and she kind of keeps
No,
it, or
I tell her if she wants to. I just tell her, there's some pretty racy things that your sister's doing in there. So if you're going to be offended, just be aware before you open it up.
okay, well, she's a strong-willed individual, so she takes the thing and she opens it up, and she's quite shocked to see. It's like one of those things, like, she doesn't take a look at very many of the photos, but she looks at a couple of the photos and she just kind of has that like disgusted look on her face that, obviously she knew her sister was with other men, but having just proof from
Kind of
real life
wild,
like
but
this.
having pictures is a little bit different. Yeah.
Exactly. Knowing and seeing are two different
Yeah.
things.
So I just tell her, I just figured it was in your family's best interest that this sort of material isn't floating around. It could be bad for you guys. So
Okay.
I'm surprised Spielman hasn't said something to you guys already, frankly. So
Well, he may have said something to Helen. I mean, obviously, she kept a lot of her life pretty private recently, and even now, I mean, she hasn't changed any from when she was first found.
yeah, I was gonna ask how she's doing.
Uh, Pretty much the same. Um, she suggests that, if you well, since you're already here, if you want to see her, you can. But she's she's pretty out of it.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know if I really need to see her. Maybe I'll go up there, but I do have one other question for you. Do you have any idea where she may have stored some information, like books, someplace safe that she would have kept things that maybe she didn't want everybody to know?
Well, she says Hmm. That's where she kept anything. Honestly, if she thought that any place was safe, it would have been safest here. But when she came back home, what they did is they actually took and they like emptied her room of almost anything that could have
Was
been
was
dangerous.
was there any pictures of the files that what's his name?
Bill
Block.
Block.
Yeah, gave her. Are there any of the pictures in there? Because I would have kept that out to ask. Like, is anything that looks like this that may have been in her room? If there's any
Mhm.
sort of picture like that.
Um, the only, I mean, she's like, I can show you everything that we had taken out of her room, and maybe there's a clue as to something in there.
That would be
Uh,
good. That would be
but
good if I could look through her things.
okay, so pretty much, she takes you to, she takes you upstairs, and it sounds like what she does is she keeps, Margaret keeps her sister Helen in an upstairs bedroom and everything like that. But the kind of the effect.
Shackled like Castle Free.
Well, locked in her room, let's say. She's kind of she's not sure she's safe for herself. But what she does do is she does take you to a kind of a side room where they have stored all of her stuff. Um, and it doesn't really seem as though when you're kind of going through it, there's much that stands out except for a jar of clear liquid labeled with a strip of masking tape.
What's the masking tape say?
It's in kind of a shaky hand. The tape bears a date just over 3 months old.
Okay. Well, I will take that. Like, put it in my pocket. It's a big jar, little jar.
It's a drinking jar. Let's just say it's of the masonry type.
Okay, so it has a lid on it, and I can put it in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll take that because I'll take it to Virginia.
Okay.
Any books, any notes or numbers that may indicate that she had a safety deposit box or a place where she kept things?
No, I mean, pretty much what you can see is that that
I mean, is there paper items? Like she said they took things that they thought would be dangerous. Is there any like books or anything like, because I tell her that these might what I'm looking for is probably some sort of paper product, maybe an envelope. She had anything like that still in her room?
No, I mean, she didn't really keep anything like that we found, but this is and she basically showed you all the personal effects that she
Okay.
had. Various jewelry, obviously things like nail clipper scissors and all of that kind of stuff they took out of the room just because they didn't want
But they just took everything out of the room, not
pretty
just
much.
okay.
Yeah. So
Because I mean, they might not see books as dangerous. That's why I'm asking. So
yeah, but they also she also wasn't really known for her proclivity for reading.
well, yeah, but that's why it might stand out. So
Yeah.
there's nothing for me to use my evidence collection on.
The only thing that you can use it on is that the
jar.
that as you look at the jar, you see that the handwriting on the jar is nothing like any of the other samples for Helen's handwriting that you have nearby. So you know it's written by somebody else.
Okay, yeah, I'll pocket that. If Margaret, I mean, I'll ask Margaret if she knows what it is.
She's like, I didn't really do anything with it, but when I smelled it, it smelled pretty uh, stiffly, like it was an alcohol or something like that, but really strong.
Okay, do you know whose handwriting this is by any chance?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I'm gonna take it and have it examined just to make sure it's nothing dangerous or involved, if that's okay.
Okay, it's napalm. Good luck. No, just kidding.
It's liquid hallucinogen. Drop that on your skin and you're gonna lose your mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that would be fun. Very different game, but fun. You ready to meet some elder gods?
It wouldn't be that different, really.
Oh,
Okay. If there's nothing else, I don't need to see your sister right now. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't want to put any undue stress on her.
Sure.
So, yeah.
All right.
Oh. While we're in the room, I will say, and by the way, Margaret, just to let you know, your dad is still gambling at the casino Algiers. Just to let you know.
She knew, but she knew now she knows, if that makes sense.
Just to confirm it for you.
Kind of like vein pumping in her temple, like
just again, in the best interests of your family, I'm just trying to let you know everything that I discover in my investigation. So
okay. Sure. So yeah, she thanks you for the information. She's obviously a little bit frustrated, seeming at that, and probably even more irritated than anything.
and I do suggest again that she destroy the pictures quick,
She she says she'll take care of them appropriately.
use them to blackmail her sister. Gotcha. Yeah, okay. That's lit. I leave.
Okay. So now it was the casino next.
Yeah, if it's late enough.
Yeah, I mean, by the time you get out there, it'll be evening, but earlier evening if you want.
Yeah, I'll go to the casino with the thought to talk to Burl and pay off my debt.
Okay. So basically you get to the casino, obviously, still the suits, they're more tense than they were yesterday, obviously, but it seems like they did whatever they needed to make a exploding car and the shattered collateral damage disappear. A business has got to run after all.
Mhm.
And you get to the place. Asking for Burl, though, you find that there isn't Burl's not there tonight, which is unusual because you would actually thought that Burl worked every night. Being as
I ask if he's okay.
Well, funny you should ask that, because
Not really. There was an exploding car in the parking lot last night.
well, one of the other let's just say muscle comes up to you and kind of grabs you stiffly by the arm and says, "Whitey wants a word."
Okay.
And so with that, we're going to leave Whitey wants a word as where we're going to pause. And
I've discovered a cliffhanger.
You have found the cliffhanger. You've got a big beefy hand on your bicep, and he grabs you tightly, and he's yanking you towards Whitey's office.
Sounds good.
Not in a friendly way, and not in a cordial way like it was yesterday when you were being escorted by Burl.
Well, yeah, but he's a meathead, so
Fair enough. Those meatheads. So I think that's where we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. I think
And I have a gun and a jar of toxic waste to defend myself with. So
you got what you got. So yeah. So if anybody gets to the end of this and they've watched it and they said, hey, you know what, you guys are have any tips, tricks on how to run Cthulhu Confidential or things that you found successful, let us know. Throw them in the comments. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. Thank you for being with us on this adventure through Cthulhu Confidential with me steering Dex in all the wrong places.
Not all the wrong places. You've obviously gotten some right places.
Dartboard sounds good.
Yeah. So cool. Well, and honestly, it's been fun. I think we, if I were to be honest, I think we probably have between 1 and 2 sessions left.
Makes sense.
Kind of feels like we're getting a little closer. And this is the kind of game that could go on for a long time, depending on how you approach it. But I think we're going to the middle/longer end of the spectrum in total playtime.
Well, yeah, because I'm not the best at these games.
I would be really impressed to see how this plays in a 4-hour session, though. Just out of curiosity, like motoring through this so fast. I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the butler did it. Like, where's my money?
Wheat.
Yeah, this is Wheatcroft. I don't know. Then you kick him into a big pit. Whatever.
You are Wheatcroft, the kidnapper.
Yeah, you could do it all Clue style. He did it. And then you just have to walk through how he did it through this like really extravagant.
It was Wheatcroft with the
play-by-play
with the toxic waste.
Yeah. So, all right, everybody. Well, it's been
thank
fun.
you, everybody.
And hopefully people that have gotten this far enjoyed the heck out of the show. If you did, of course, follow us for more, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.